can I help you shine? It's your time to grow. Bring your dream, your hustle to the monetize you show. Ideas turn to magic, let's make it real. Done for you vibes with business appeal. This is the Monetize You Show with your host, Gail Brown, where hustle meets highlight. Let's go!
Welcome back to the Monetize You Show, where we turn ideas into income and setbacks into strategy. This is Gail 2.0, and we have an amazing show for you today. Buckle up because you are about to be blown away. We had such a great response the last time this gentleman was on the show, we had to bring him back for part 2 of our conversation called Pivot with Power. Today's guest is returning champion is Mr. Lance T. Walker, founder of the Grown Folks Computer Club and Pivot with Power Accelerator System. He's helped hundreds of mid-career professionals, especially those impacted by DEI layoffs, turn career chaos into career clarity. If you've ever felt stuck, sidelined, or ready for your next big move, trust me, this is the episode you've been waiting for. So listen up and get ready to transform your life. Let's go. All right. Hey, everybody. This is Gail Turner Brown from the Monetize You Show. And I want to welcome the returning champion, Mr. Lance T. Walker from the... I am so glad to have you back again, Mr. Walker. Thank you so much for coming back.
Outstanding.
All right. So Lance has created an entire infrastructure entitled Pivot with Power. There's a little bit more to it than that, but I'm going to let him kind of get into the nitty-gritty of what is Pivot with Power and what your company is and what it's all about.
Absolutely. Good to see you again, Gail.
I'm glad that you came back.
All right. Yeah, it's been, wow, round the clock busy,
yes.
But having the time of my life doing it. And so just to, kind of flesh it out for you, the organization is called the Grown Folks Computer Club. And its purpose is to help midlife professionals, specifically DEI-related professionals and diversity-trained military veterans who find themselves at a peculiar place in their careers right now, but helping them to free themselves from hostile workplaces and seize control, or should I say reclaim control of their careers and their lives, okay? And actually walking them step by step through that process and providing the support to make that happen. So the Pivot with Power system is the methodology that we use inside the Grown Folks Computer Club to help our members achieve that goal. It is a 4-step process. And not really a process, it's a 4-step idea, a 4-step concept, where basically what we're doing is we're looking, there's 4 things that any person on a mission needs to have available to them in order to be successful at that mission. The first is they need to have an idea of what exactly that mission is. Okay, what is their real purpose on this planet? Because what we're looking at is helping people to actually start fulfilling what they were put here for. And obviously changing the face of corporate America is not what they were put here for, because they're not dealing with it. They're not receiving it. They're not having it. So obviously that part of their career is a stepping stone to their ultimate mission and the reason they're put here on this planet. So we actually work with them. We don't just, give them a bunch of questions and tell them to have a nice life. Okay, we actually work with them and sit down and ask those questions and ask them in ways and from different angles that help people literally go inside themselves and start to realize why they're actually here. So knowing what the mission is the first part. The second part is having the roadmap or the strategy in place to actually achieve that mission. Okay, it's incredibly frustrating to know what you're here for and not know how to get there. Okay? So we want to make sure that we have an actual roadmap, a step-by-step layout, so that they know where they are on that path, Okay, and can actually feel. I mean, there's nothing like accomplishing something, but you don't feel like you've accomplished anything. We want
Mm,
to know exactly where we are on that path. Okay, and
right.
that comes from having a strategy. The third thing is you want to have your adequate tool set. Okay, your tools and your weapons. You got to be able to defend yourself and also build and do what you need to get done. Okay, sometimes it means actually having the technical skills. Sometimes it means just having access to those technical skills. Okay, so you might not want to, be the world's greatest software programmer, but you don't have to be if you have access to software programmers when you need them. So what we've done is brought together people with a tremendous variety of technical skills and abilities to either teach or perform those needs as they come up, whether
Okay.
it's building a website, whether it's putting a product together, whether it's doing digital marketing. Okay, having that access is critical in this day and age that's so driven by technology.
Okay.
Finally, the fourth thing is your teammates, having the right team to go with you, the mentors, the partners, the affiliates, okay, the people who will be there for you when you need them most, so that you realize that you're doing this thing for yourself, but not by yourself.
Mm,
Okay, so when we put all these things together, your mission, your toolkit, your strategy, and your teammates, now you have what you need to accomplish what you're trying to do.
okay. Okay, so that's a lot. That's
Absolutely, it
a
is.
lot. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things I heard you say is that it sounds like, okay, the emphasis was on people who are going through this midlife
Mm-hmm.
crisis, challenge,
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Right. Right.
But would this benefit people who are not? I mean, so suppose you're in your, and actually, I think they keep moving the goalposts. What I don't know what midlife is because we used to be at
Okay.
35, but
Uh-huh.
now I don't know. Could be. So suppose you are a millennial or
Mm-hmm.
a Gen Zer for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Mm-hmm.
starting your career, but
Mm-hmm.
you've gotten out of college and you look around and say, you know what? I got a different purpose. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think this really is it for me. Could
Okay.
this benefit them too? Or is your focus
Absolutely.
mainly on people who are tired?
Well, well, absolutely, it can benefit them if they're of the right mindset. Okay.
Okay.
Now we tend to focus our efforts mainly around people what we call mid-career, mainly in the 40 to 50 age range. Okay.
Okay.
Or you said 35, 45. Yeah, that sounds about right. Mainly what the question is, I'm not doing the math in my head right, but it's all based on the number 20. Okay. Is we ask them right from the beginning, okay, based on what you've been doing for the last 20 years, is that what you'd like to be doing for the next 20 years?
Okay.
Okay, so if you figure from 25 to 65, retirement age, that puts 45 right there in the middle. Okay,
Right.
and that's why we tend to focus on that area, because these are people who have been doing things for the last 20 years, and they've come to a point in their lives. Sometimes you hear people refer to it as a midlife crisis, where what happens is they've been doing something for 20 years, and all of a sudden they look ahead and go, you know what, I don't want to be doing this crap for the next 20 years. Okay, but they've got things invested now. They've got families, they've got, maybe they've got a little business built up with
Right.
clientele. They got their kids are going through school, maybe hitting high school. So they've got all these things that are trying to keep them stuck in that
Right.
one place in what we call career limbo,
Okay.
and trying to decide. Now, of course, in the case of DEI professionals, they've kind of had the switch forced on them.
Right.
As the political winds have changed, now all of a sudden, DEI is not cool anymore. Okay, so now they're looking back and then looking forward and realizing not only have they lost what they've been working on for the last 20 years, but now the very notion of what they've been doing has been so tainted that their moving forward is now corrupted.
Okay.
It's now tainted.
Okay.
Okay.
I
And
got
so
it.
they're looking for that switch. Now, for people who are just starting out, yes, they can benefit from all these things. But the big difference is when you're just starting out at 20 or 25, you have time to make mistakes.
Right.
You can try things out.
Okay.
You can experiment and all that sort of thing. Folks at that midlife area, they've got to get it right, and they don't have a lot of room for error.
Okay. But now that makes
Mhm.
me think of another group.
Okay.
Let's say that group who is 60 plus.
Okay.
Okay. Kids are out, and
Mm-hmm.
now they're looking around going, okay, I I'm not done,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I still have a lot of living I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do something. Maybe I want to now do something I've always wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't have that much time left neither. I got less
Mm-hmm.
time than the
Mm-hmm.
millennials do.
Mm-hmm.
Can you help them make that pivot from what they were doing, let's say their corporate job that they've been in for 40
Mm-hmm.
years,
Mm-hmm.
and
Looking
now
at
they want to,
retiring.
yeah, and they,
Mm-hmm.
retiring or have retired,
Mm-hmm.
technically
Mm-hmm.
retired. Okay. But like I said, but you got a lot of living to do. I mean, we live
Mm-hmm.
a lot longer, and
Mm-hmm.
if you have kept up with yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you got energy, you got stuff, you got brain power.
Exactly.
Can your program help them as well to make
Mm-hmm.
a total shift
To help them
with
stay
them?
in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely love that question because incredibly enough, that's actually where we started.
Okay.
We This whole concept began with a concentration on helping seniors who wanted to go to the grocery store, but now they can't use their discount paper because all the coupons are on their cell phones. Okay, or they can't. They used to be able to get on the bus or just pick up the phone and call a taxi to take them to the grocery store, and now they have to use Uber. What? Okay, so yeah, we're very much in tune with the requirements of our senior folks. And the nice thing about it is that for them, the process is actually simpler because for them, the main thing they need to focus on is what we call digital literacy.
Oh, yes.
All right,
Yes.
that's knowing
Yes.
what those buttons are on that phone that they never use. Okay, that's just being able to pull up on their PC. I mean, I've dealt with folks who haven't turned their computer on since Windows 98. Okay, and they're wanting to know, well, can I still use this?
Yeah.
Probably not, but it's not as difficult as you might think to get
Right.
past that hump. So getting comfortable, not being afraid of the computer, that's a lot of it. Okay, worried about safety, being able to shop online without falling into a scam trap or
Yes.
getting viruses on their computers. A lot of people are terrified about that. And what we find is the main challenge, I should say, a main challenge that so many of them deal with is just this idea that their kids or their grandkids are the ones helping them with this stuff. And when they ask for help, the person basically takes their phone or their computer and it's done.
I
And they hand
know.
it back to them and they're sitting there going, okay, that was fun, but
I still don't know
I
how to
still
do
don't
it.
know
I
how to
know.
do it.
And
Exactly.
you notice that it's amazing. Your kids have far less patience than you did when you were training them how to do stuff. It's it's
Exactly. Yeah.
insane.
And a lot of it has to do with, we're all basically, when we come into this life, we're born for the time that we're born into.
Yeah.
So these kids nowadays are basically born computer literate. I
Yes.
mean, you toss a tablet in the crib and they're,
Yeah, I
where in
know.
the old days we throw a football.
Yeah.
So, their minds are trained at a much higher speed.
Right.
Everything is rapid. You watch a cartoon now. I mean, we used to watch the Flintstones,
I know.
and that was, he'd jump in the car with his feet and make the car go with his feet. We just thought that was funny. Aha, Tom and Jerry, yada, yada, yada. These kids are anime and flash, cut, flash,
I
flash. It's
know.
just unreal how fast you have to, your mind has to accelerate just to keep up with what's going on.
That is true. The fastest
Okay.
we had were the Jetsons. That was
Exactly.
about
Oh,
it,
we thought
right?
that was high tech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm still
Exactly.
wishing for the housekeeper to come in and handle things,
Oh,
do the vacuuming and
that's
all that.
coming. In fact, I just saw a
Uh,
video on, and I can't remember the name of it. It's some letters and
mhm.
numbers, but
Okay.
it's a life-size AI robot
Uh-huh.
that you can that will be able to
It
help.
does tasks.
Yeah, I'm telling
Yeah,
you. Go
see,
you watch the movie
now I'm
I,
thinking,
Robot.
I
That's
was
what
about
we
to say, now I'm thinking about Will Smith and
Yes,
iRobot. Like, can I trust them?
I know, I
Like
know.
come in to
It's
vacuum the rug and wind up going through my safe. Hey.
oh yeah,
But yeah, so yeah, they have far less patience. And because they've never lived at a time before computers, the way things have always been.
right.
To do that, they want to look down on grandma and say, well, that's second grade stuff. How come you don't know that? They
Yeah,
don't know what second grade was like
right,
when she was going through second grade, you
right,
know?
right.
So, we're very in tune with the need to be patient and what kinds of struggles a lot of our seniors are dealing with. So, yeah, we cover the whole gamut. We have our concentration point, but we're very aware of the needs of the whole spectrum.
Okay. That's good. That's totally good to know. Because there are a lot of us out here that need to be
Oh, yeah.
and want to still, have another career or another
Mm-hmm.
or build a business or something.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
so
here's the thing too, Gail, is that people don't realize because they don't think about it. Windows 95 was 30 years ago.
I know.
Okay. There were a lot of people alive today who were already in the workforce when Windows 95 came out.
Yes.
So they never got the basic computer training that their kids and grandkids got.
Right. That's
Okay. The
right.
people at work, the bosses just said, this is what you need to do your job. So just do that and don't worry about the rest.
Exactly.
And now
Exactly.
all of a sudden they start approaching retirement age, and oh my goodness,
Right.
okay,
Right.
I need to know more than what I did at the warehouse.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
so let
Mm-hmm.
me ask you this.
Sure.
You talked about the middle-aged people,
Mm-hmm.
needing to make the pivot because now
Mm-hmm.
DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion
Mm-hmm.
has become
It's now become DIY or
yeah,
DIY, do it yourself.
yeah, exactly. All right, but you also mentioned veterans.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to me about that. Tell me,
Okay.
what aspect of veterans, where are they coming from? What are you helping
Mm-hmm.
them do? All of
Absolutely. Working with the veteran community is actually where I built my foundation because, being a veteran myself, I went through a lot of the struggles, coming back into civilian life, okay, transitioning back into the civilian world. And the thing about civilians, you guys are different. Okay, you guys don't take orders for squat.
No, we don't.
Okay,
No,
okay.
do not.
In the civilian world, the so-called real world, you have to actually motivate people to do stuff.
That's true.
Folks will take a job, decide they don't like it, and leave for lunch and never come back.
That is true.
That
That is
doesn't
true.
happen in the military.
Yeah,
You have details, you have duties, you have things you have to do, regardless of whether you like it or not.
right.
Okay, so it's a totally different mindset.
Yes.
Also, in the civilian world, a lot of what people do is motivated by what they stand to gain. Can they get a bigger paycheck? Can they close a better deal? Can they, how can they move forward? In the
Right.
military, your progress is restricted and specifically defined. If you do this, you get that. Okay, so ambition can actually work against you. So you learn to kind of keep yourself in check and go along with the system and do what you're supposed to do so that you can get to the next level. You come out
Right.
into the civilian world, it's like a free for all. It's
Right.
like you're trying to herd cats. It doesn't work. Okay. Also, in the civilian world, most people have no idea what military folks do every day. They
Mm.
don't know what the difference is between a logistics job and a combat ready position.
Oh,
As far as they're concerned, everybody's Rambo, putting stuff on their face and running around, and that's military. Not
well,
true at
sometimes
all.
that's how they act. I mean, I'm just
Well,
saying.
exactly. So, you know, when a veteran comes back out into the civilian workforce trying to basically find a position in the society that they've put their life on the line to defend, they find that the people in the civilian world basically have no idea what they've been doing for the last 4 years, 10 years, 20 years. All they
Right.
know is you were gone for a while and now you're back.
Right.
Okay.
Right. right.
there's people who are used to, and I'm talking young people in their 20s, okay,
Mm,
who are used to commanding large numbers of human beings under incredibly stressful situations, millions and millions of dollars worth of equipment, software, all these kinds of things that they're being held responsible for. They come out into the civilian world and they get no credit whatsoever. The
mm,
boss just looks at him and says, well, we don't know anything about that, but this is the civilian world now, and you have to start at the bottom. Okay. So it's a really, it's a lurch. It's an incredibly stressful time in a lot of folks' lives. And a lot of them don't deal with it very well.
right,
So some of them never actually re-civilianize, as we call it.
right.
They stay in transition for decades. And
Wow.
the help just isn't there because civilians in this country are taught to honor their heroes,
Yeah.
but they don't translate that into compensating their heroes.
No. Okay. Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, so veterans will literally run to the place of madness with 100 people a day clapping them on the back and saying thank you for your service, but nobody wants to buy them lunch.
Right. Right.
Okay,
Right.
so dealing with these kinds of things, it all boils down to understanding the perspective and having experienced it, so that I can use that viewpoint and that ability to help them solve problems that other people aren't even aware that they have. And then the same goes with the DEI folks now too. I was DEI before DEI was cool growing up in the 60s. So I know what these wolves were like before they started faking it. And so for a lot of folks, now being laid off and dealing with the fear of being laid off, they're worried that people have suddenly changed, and they don't understand why so many people are so hostile and hate them so much for no reason. They
Hmm.
don't realize the wolf has always been the wolf.
Right.
They're just tired of faking it now.
So is
Right?
that what made you, I'll say not transition, but from looking at it from your perspective, being
Mm-hmm.
in the military,
Mm-hmm.
being a part of the DEI,
Mm-hmm.
being an
Diversity.
entrepreneur,
Mm-hmm.
um, what was your tipping point? At what point did you figure out, oh
Mm-hmm.
crap, I need to do something and I need to be able to help other people do it?
Well,
Was there a tipping point for you?
oh, absolutely, there was a tipping point. And it actually was before I went into the military, because I started my college career at Georgia Tech.
Mm,
And, right after my first year there, Ronald Reagan, who was president at the time, got into a beef with Congress. Imagine that. And they basically shut down the government. And one of the things they did was they cut the what they call Pell Grants at the time
mm,
for education.
right.
And I got caught up in that. So
Ah,
all of a sudden, I found myself out on the street again. I
mm,
took a job with a company who, during the interview process, one of the things they stressed that was really, important to me was they said, well, once you've been here for 90 days, we'll actually pay for your education, for your continuing education.
okay.
And I'm like, yeah, that works for me. Let's do this. So I took the job. I was working, and once I got to the 90-day point, I put in my request for classes, and they were all rejected. And so, I went to the guy who had hired me, and I'm like, what's going on here? You told me that I could, get continuing education. And he said to me, he said, yes, we do, but what you're trying to learn has nothing to do with what we do here as a company. And I kind of looked at him strange, and he said, why would we train you to go work someplace else doing something different? And that's when the V8 moment hit. Like, duh.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
how did I not think of that? But I was young and inexperienced at the time.
Yeah.
So I was at the library, and I was signing out some cassette tapes by a guy named Jim Rohn.
Oh, yes.
I'm sure you're familiar with him,
Oh,
Tony
extremely
Robbins'
familiar. Yes.
mentor. Yeah.
Yes.
And one of the things that he talked a lot about was this notion of being self-educated.
Mm.
He used to say, if I get this right now, he said, a standard education will make you a living, but being self educated will make you a fortune.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Right.
Well, I was listening to Jim Rohn in my ear. Back in those days, we had Sony Walkmans, if you can believe that or not. Woohoo! Woo! Talk about
Oh
aging myself or dating
my
myself.
gosh. Okay.
That was state of the art back
I
then. I walk around with the Sony
know.
Walkman headphones on. But as
Oh
you can see,
goodness.
the headphones are like natural for me now, being
Yeah.
a radio troop in the Air Force and everything else. It's just,
Yeah.
it's what I do. But anyway, I'm going through the aisles, and all of a sudden, and I had Jerome in my ear, and all of a sudden I look and I see a trigonometry book, the very trigonometry book that I had used at Georgia Tech.
Ah,
And that's when it dawned on me. I mean, you talk about a moment. Suddenly I realized, oh my God, this is the exact book. So what that said to me was, wow, if I study this book, then I'll know everything that I would have known had I stayed at Georgia Tech.
right.
I'll know what they know.
Yeah.
Okay. And I got to thinking about it, and I suddenly realized, one of my superpowers is that I'm self motivated when it comes to my own education. And I realized all of a sudden that college really, when you break it down, all college really is a place where you give people a whole bunch of money to make you read stuff that you normally wouldn't read otherwise. That's all it is. So if I don't need that, if I can actually get myself to read it on my own, then
Yeah.
I can get a college education and never have to set foot on a college campus again.
That's true. And
Okay.
save a bunch of money.
Okay.
That's
And
it.
then there was the advantage also because, as you know, in college, you may study that book for a semester or trimester or whatever, but once you pass the exam, that's that.
That's
You
it.
forget everything you learned, it goes right out of your head and you're on to the next one.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
I
true.
could actually study on my own and come out of it knowing more than the person with the college degree.
Right. Yeah,
Okay, so I began to understand at a very deep level that performance beats certifications most of the time.
exactly.
Hey,
Okay,
just a short break in our show. If any of this is resonating with you, if you are getting any benefit from our show, I'd like to ask you to give us a thumbs up and a like. This helps the algorithm and others can find us. We are a new channel, so would really appreciate it to help us grow. Okay, let's get back to the show.
sometimes people just want
Exactly.
certifications. Okay, but that's mainly for insurance purposes. Okay, if you
Right.
go in and blow the place up, they want to know who to sue.
Exactly.
But
That's right. That's
okay,
right.
but
So,
as the technology cycle turns, you invariably come back to these moments, and we're at one of them now, where something new comes out, like, oh, I don't know, AI.
AI.
Okay, and when those moments come around, everybody starts at zero.
Right.
And during those times, certifications don't mean squat. People
No.
just want to know, can you do the job?
Can you
Can you
do it?
get it done? Okay.
Yes.
Can you produce what I need? Can you solve my problem?
Right.
Okay. And that's where people like me shine.
So, okay. So now that you brought up AI and we're talking about
Okay.
people in midlife,
Mhm.
and you talk about digital independence is
Absolutely.
obviously that is a part of that, right?
Mhm.
Can you expand on that some more
Absolutely.
about,
Absolutely. It's a part of it, but it's a vital part of it. It's an indispensable part of it, and it's something that I have to make sure that I remind people of because by their very nature, people who have worked in the DEI or diversity related fields are people. Their
mm,
specialty tends to be things like leadership, communication, strategic
right,
thinking. Okay,
right,
and they usually have had people on the technical side to support them.
right,
Okay, but now in this new world, in this new economy, okay, that support isn't necessarily there. The budgets are being cut. Certainly, veterans in transition aren't getting technical support.
right,
Okay, and both groups were trained to serve a bigger mission than themselves.
right,
And when that mission disappears, they're left questioning, well, what is my value in the marketplace? What do
right.
I
Yeah.
bring?
I've heard
Okay.
people talk about that before.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say it was, I can't remember if it was Buzz Aldrin or one of the other astronauts that went to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
he came back and he's like, now what? I've been to the moon. It's like,
Exactly.
what is my purpose?
You
And
hear the same thing in pro athletes once they retire. You
Yeah.
know, what do you do when you've had hundreds of thousands of people screaming your name,
Yeah.
and now all of a sudden you're just a guy walking down the street with a shirt on?
Yeah.
You know, where do you get that feeling of purpose, of meaning? Okay.
Right.
So getting back to the whole AI thing, we're at the beginning of this new industrial revolution. So
Right.
everybody's at square one. So this is the perfect time to bring in those technical skills or access to them.
Right.
Okay, networking with people who have the technical skills that they can bring to your benefit.
Right.
Okay, and that way be able to use those skills that they've developed, because now it's not just about having those leadership, communication, and strategic thinking skills. Now you have to be able to communicate to people that you have those skills.
Mm.
See? It's not just making the guy in the corner office happy. Now you've got a client base. Now you've got social media followers. You know, now you've got potential customers that you need to be able to communicate in ways that go beyond your ability to stand up and speak, although that's critically important, okay, and
Right.
can give you a tremendous edge, okay, but being backed up with the communication methods that people are used to and have become accustomed to seeing: your
Right.
website, your presentation forms, okay, your slideshows, okay, your portfolio demonstrations, okay,
Right.
all these types of things that people have come to expect to see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so now making sure that they have those tools gives them the confidence and the motivation that they need to stay the course. Because even when times are tough, you know, you've got to pursue, you've got to persevere. And the thing about it is that in this digital economy that we're now, moving headlong into, those very skills, okay, the leadership, the communication, the strategic thinking, those skills are the skills that are more in need than ever before. High
Mm.
tech, high touch. Okay, the more high tech the society becomes, the more high touch people want to be.
Right.
Okay, it's just think anytime you try to call customer service and you have to go through the tree,
Oh.
press 9, press 3, press
Oh.
7. Okay, the more technical things get, the more you just want to talk to
Yeah. It's
somebody.
just so talk. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, you just want
Yes.
to talk to a person. Okay,
Yeah.
there are people out here actually making a living hugging people.
I've seen that. I have
Okay,
seen that. I didn't know how effective it was, but I have seen that. Yeah.
there's hugging and there's also cuddling. Okay, non-sexual, fully
That kind of
dressed.
okay. That gets kind of creepy, doesn't it?
It depends on how lonely you are. See, there are literally people in this world dying of loneliness, literally.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, being able to call an Uber might help them. Okay. But also just having somebody who cares enough to sit and listen to them for 20 minutes,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
their grandkids live across the country now. You
Mm.
know, it's amazing. This culture is getting more and more high tech all the time, but that means that the need for high touch is also growing greater every day.
Yeah, exactly. That is true. Okay, so the way you have described all of this, my
Mm-hmm.
assumption is that this is what the Grown Folks Computer Club, the
Mm-hmm.
whole purpose of it
Mm-hmm.
is to address each of these issues and to provide solutions for each of these issues that people have. Is
And I
that
said
correct?
it better myself.
Okay.
I love it. The
Okay.
Grown Folks Computer Club is the organization, it's the structure.
Okay.
The Pivot with Power program is the methodology.
Okay. Okay. And so, okay, so let's play pretend for a second.
Sure.
So if I say, okay, I want to I want to sign up to the Grown Folks Computer
Mm-hmm.
Club.
Mm-hmm.
Take me through my process. Like what would happen? What would I do
Okay.
first?
Okay. It's a very easy process online. Okay.
Okay.
But what I would suggest, and I, definitely urge people to do, excuse me, is to first do one thing mentally. And that is to accept the reality that if your job is not secure, your skills had better be.
Well, I
Okay?
heard somebody say once
Mm-hmm.
that the only way you can get maximum security
Mm-hmm.
is in prison. Other than that, there is no security. Okay.
Whoa.
Okay.
Okay, that is definitely one way to do it.
Okay. I'm just saying because there
I
isn't
wouldn't,
any security.
yeah,
Everybody's
I
trying
wouldn't
to
recommend
pray.
that way particularly. Because one thing's for sure, anytime they give you a floor, they also give you a ceiling to go with it. So you can
Exactly.
only go so high.
All right.
No, I wouldn't call it maximum security. I would call it optimum security.
Mm,
Okay, there's no greater feeling of security than being self-contained and knowing that you have the skills to navigate your environment.
right.
Now, no matter what, everything depends on the opportunities available to you.
Right.
Okay, so if there's no opportunities available, then your skills won't matter.
Right.
Okay. Well, what we want to do in an age of technology is have our skills to the point where we can literally leave that environment and go someplace else where we can make use of those skills.
Okay.
Okay. And I know the Monetize You show deals a lot with that whole idea of relocation and reestablishing oneself in a different location. Okay.
Right. Right.
But the difference between being a refugee and being an immigrant is if you have money and or skills when you show up. Okay. We don't want to show up as a refugee. Okay.
No.
Then you're
No.
out of control completely. You have no security at all.
No.
Okay.
Exactly.
So the first thing we want folks to do is accept that if your job isn't secure, your skills are better. And in these days of AI, literally nobody's job is secure.
Right. Right.
Okay, we're all at the starting line.
Right.
So once we accept that, then the next step is the self-assessment, where basically we ask ourselves, what do I already know that solves problems for other people?
Hmm.
Because in the end, that's what people pay for, is
Right.
the solution to their problems.
Right.
Okay. And that's why, the last line in your show's theme song, I just absolutely love it. We're building big with what we already knew.
Right.
That
Right.
just went right to my bone. It's like, yeah, we're building big with what we already knew.
Right.
Okay. So what do I already know that solves problems for other people? Then realize that it's really just from that point choosing one of the three career paths for your next step. None of
Right.
them's permanent. Okay, well, what's the next step? Do you want another job? Do you want a side hustle? Or do you want to go ahead and build a business of your own? Those are
Right.
your three options right in front of you. See, we
Right.
simplify the process. You got to get you in the right mindset. Then we simplify the process. Okay, this is what I do for my next step. So we don't want you sitting around under a tree going on and waiting for clarity. Okay. We want to help you create that clarity while you're in motion.
Mm.
Okay. Because, obviously you want to get your income restarted or you want to make that career shift, with the quickness. Okay.
Right.
So what we've done is I've created a free resource pack. I call it the Limbo to Launch resource pack to get you started.
I like that name. That's good.
Outstanding. All right. And the way you get it is it's available for free online. And all you have to do is go to deicareerpivot.com.
Okay.
Okay.
DEIcareerpivot.com.
deicareerpivot.com.
Okay.
Okay. Take your first step towards regaining control. Download the resource pack. Okay. And once you've got that, it'll also give you the opportunity to join the Grown Folks Computer Club community and start building momentum. Okay.
Okay.
And you can sign up right there on the page. We have different levels you can get into. You could even get a lifetime membership.
All right.
All right.
Okay. This is cool.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, and each membership level includes a free website.
Okay, cool. Yeah. All
Mhm.
right. So you're giving me hope that it's
I'm
never
glad to
too
hear it.
late.
Never,
Never
nope.
too late, okay, to make a pivot with power.
Absolutely. That's right. With power.
Yeah.
Not
And,
panic,
yeah,
power.
and not and don't panic.
Exactly. Take
Oh,
control.
yeah, this is really good though. No, I think a lot of people are gonna need this, are gonna wanna because a lot of people are rethinking it. A lot of people
Mm-hmm.
are looking to figure out how to escape,
Mm-hmm.
where they are, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's their job, whether it's their country, their city,
Yep.
their
Their
state,
military
whatever.
career.
Right. Looking for another
Mm-hmm.
career, whatever. And so I think this does help give people clarity, or at least they know like what is the first step I can take. And
Yes.
this kind of helps them on their path.
Absolutely.
to where they want to go.
Absolutely.
So
We want to always make sure that we communicate to people, listen, the cage does have a door.
okay. Right.
Okay.
Right.
A lot of
Exactly.
people feel completely trapped with no
Yes.
way out. Okay.
Yes.
The
Yes.
cage has a door. You have the key. Our job is to help you find it and show you how to use it.
And show you how to use it. All right. All right, folks, listen up. I hope you guys got something out of that. I hope you are now no longer stuck. And you know
Exactly.
how to take that first step with Mr.
Mm-hmm.
Lance T. Walker and
Woo!
the grown folks, okay? Real grown folks. Computer club, okay?
The
This
kids
is
have theirs.
this for the 30 and over club.
There you go. There you go.
I get the 30 and over club card and, and get yourself started.
Outstanding.
So with that, thank you again, Lance, for coming back
You're
and
so
sharing
welcome,
with us
Gail.
what you guys are doing. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll make sure to include all of this information. So just at a click of a button
Absolutely.
in the show notes of how to get a hold of Lance, how to go take that first step, how to get to that website and start filling that information out. And
There you go.
yeah, and get started. So with that, until the next time and next week, y'all, I hope you guys have a magnificent and prosperous day. And we will see you guys next week. Ciao.
See you later.
Did you learn something from this week's episode? Great! Links to resources in this week's episode are in the description. Would you like to be on the Monetize You show? Do you have an offer you'd like to present? Or maybe you'd like to sponsor a show? Wonderful. Let's talk. Just grab a spot on my calendar. The link is also in the description. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes. Ready? Go!
We want to